All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the third episode of the Geek Culture and Philosophy podcast. My name's Mike.
And my name's RC.
And here on this podcast, we come to discuss any topics in geekdom, politics, philosophy, current events, things that interest us. RC, would you say that would be a good description?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. A whole plethora of topics, but mostly focusing on things that pertain to the geek, gaming, pop culture community, and a little bit of politics and stuff thrown in.
Yeah, and since we cover a lot of topics here, we've decided to keep timestamps in the description of when we start and switch to different topics. That way, if you're interested in some but not others, you can jump around to what you want to listen to very easily and not have to click off. Give us a comment or a like when you see these. All right. So, first topic of the day. We're going to continue our streak of doing some Magic the Gathering stuff. I know it's boring to some of you, but
it's a game that is near and dear to our hearts.
It's a game that is I love the game so much, and so this isn't like a heavy Magic topic. It's just, I think, funny. So what happened? So in Magic, they do these things. This is the third one they've done called the Great Designer Search, where they have
it's fulfilling the dream that many people have of working for Wizards of the Coast potentially.
Yes. And usually you could work for Wizards of the Coast if you're female and you like Magic, but in this case you have to actually earn it. So
imagine that.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. So they put out these tests. There's they do interview tests, and then eventually they have you design a card, and then those designs are then voted on by the community, and whoever wins then gets an internship for Magic, and the card that wins gets printed in a Magic set. That's pretty cool.
That is cool, and we should say that I think there's a pretty good track record of these interns eventually just being hired on as regular staff. That's probably just like a legal thing, just in case they don't like the person for whatever reason.
Yes,
but they all eventually end up as part of the team.
Sure, for sure. And now a little bit of I guess drama happened when a question on the multiple choice test that they I'm pretty sure this test was the second barrier to entry.
Okay.
And so in the multiple choice test, there was a question that gave a lot of people problems. And the contention is that the question was not worded very well, and also there's a contention that the question was not only poorly written, but just antithetical to what Magic is about.
Okay, so the question portion of this whole process of elimination is intermixed with designing cards and talking about design philosophy and that whole thing.
Yes,
I'm imagining.
This is a design philosophy question. You are 100% right on that. The reason we're talking about this is because RC has not heard anything about it, and I think it'd be cool to get his genuine reaction, answer and reaction to the question on what he thinks the answer is and what the actual answer is.
Yes, I will say I've not followed this Great Designer Search at all. I have followed them in the past, and I especially enjoy looking at people's card designs and then how generally Mark Rosewater kind of rips the designs to shreds, only to find that similar designs appear in later sets that are released.
Yeah, no,
it's actually it's been amusing. They kind of
steal the ideas. Yeah, I actually don't like any of the ones that have won. Or the other two that have won. It's Waste Not and Aether Mage Touch or whatever.
Are the two cards. I did not like Aether Mage's Touch. I thought that was a dumb card.
And I think Waste Not's a dumb card too. So
it's stupid. Yeah.
It rewards you for doing something that you shouldn't. To me, it's antithetical to what Magic is, because it rewards you for something that's usually bad.
Yeah. Doesn't it also pull you in 3 different directions too?
Yeah, the card is it's just look at this enchantment we made. It does a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, whatever.
None of it's good, guys.
Yeah, none of it's good though. So anyway, all right. So are we ready? I'm going to read you. It's a multiple choice question. I'm going to read the question, give you the answers, and I'd like you to give me which one you think is the correct answer.
There's a correct answer. Okay, all right.
There's a correct answer. There's one correct answer. There's not multiple. According to this is the correct answer according to Mark Rosewater and Wizards, who I'm pretty sure designed it. All right. Here's the question. We try to avoid making two-color cards where the card could be done as a monocolor card in one of the two colors. Given that, suppose you have a two-color 4/4 creature with flying and vigilance and no other abilities. What of the following color combinations would be the best choice for this card? A, white-blue, B, white-black, C, green-white, D, blue-black, E, black-green.
My instinct tells me blue-white.
All right, you would be wrong.
Oh God!
You would be wrong.
You're wrong. Okay.
You would. Yes. Okay. So according to Mark Rosewater, 4/4 flying vigilance with no abilities is black-green.
Okay. Why? What is his reasoning for this?
Okay. So the question states right at the beginning that they try to avoid making two-color cards where it could fit into one color. Okay. So the idea is, since it's the card they describe as Sarah Angel. They don't name it by name, but the card it's a 4/4 flying vigilance with no other abilities.
Okay.
Sarah Angel, which we've seen a blue one in but that's in Planar Chaos. So that was a messed up one, and then it's always been in white. But
there was also a blue-white. I think it was blue-white-black gargoyle from the Esper Shard that was a 4/4 flying vigilance.
I think there was something like that. Yeah.
And that has blue and white in its cost. So whatever. Okay, I want to hear his reasoning for. Does he give a reason for why he thinks black and green should have a 4/4 flyer?
Yeah. So the reason he thinks is because it says at the beginning they try to avoid making two-color cards where one color can do everything in the card. By itself. So basically, given that, they say all of the options that included white should have been eliminated because the card can be done mono white. And since blue-black, neither of those colors get vigilance. So the idea is black can have flying creatures and green has vigilance. So technically, it is color pie for you to create a 4/4 black and green vigilance flyer.
It's just totally vanilla. Okay. Sure.
Yeah, which I think is stupid. The last creature that had vigilance and flying that was black and green was a 5-color creature, and it was from Manticore from Theros block.
Yeah. So, okay. All right. And I think the assumption there would be that its flying abilities came from not black and not green.
Yeah, for sure. Because it also has trample and lifelink, I think, or something. Yes. So basically, I just thought because Mark Rosewater was just but the comment that I was just so shit, I was just rubbing my forehead how can you be this arrogant, you know?
Right.
He's just we don't want designers who are going to answer the question white blue. We want designers who are going to answer the question black green. Those are the people we want. I'm so you want designers who are going to design a Magic card that's never that's not even been close to being printed ever in Magic's history,
right, yeah. Did he give the exact mana cost? Did you say it was 2 a green or?
It's just imagine if it was a 2. They don't give the exact mana cost. It's just it's 2 colors and it's flies. It didn't even give its power and toughness. I'm pretty sure.
I thought you said it was 4/4.
No, they didn't give it. It's a 4/4.
All right,
but they didn't give the exact color. Yeah, they didn't give the converted mana cost. They just said it is exactly 2 colors.
Here's the thing. I understand that there's a limited, and Mark Rosewater said this. I understand that there is a limited design space within the entire structure of Magic the Gathering and the rules that are laid forth to create cards. And I realize that Wizards does the best they can to answer the challenge of continually printing new, innovative, fun cards that are seemingly powerful, but also not overstep the boundaries of the creativity per set because they don't want to deplete that resource of limited possibilities. And
for sure,
I've also heard Mark Rosewater say that Richard Garfield did an excellent job of creating this concept of the color pie, and that it's one of the things that makes Magic so strong. But at the same time, ever since he's kind of taken steer of the ship and controlled what has been published, he seems to constantly be nipping away at the color pie and disrespecting like what traits and abilities belong to what color, which colors. And I know a lot of people like the time spiral block, but some of that color bleed happened during that block, and I think we've kind of just seen it happen here and there since that point, and it does kind of weaken the game when you allow colors to have abilities that they shouldn't normally get. Sorry, one last thing. I did see a funny comic like a couple of years ago where it was like Mark Rosewater with this like pie that was supposed to be the color pie, and I guess he'd stuck in his dick in it, kind of like an American Pie where the guy fucks the pie. I thought that was a funny commentary on what he was doing to the color pie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Mark Rosewater claims that he is a color pie stickler. That like every time a card comes up that's out of color pie recently, or at least since I can remember, one of the biggest examples was this Return of Ravnica block where they did Abrupt Decay, because Abrupt Decay is pretty color pie breaking.
Sure.
And like he's just like, well, I didn't want to print it, but these people came to me and said we really want to print this card. It's going to help out these different formats. And he's just like, well, it breaks the color pie, and like, so I'm just like, well, it's understandable that you like sometimes like cards need to get like, I understand breaking the color pie sometimes to get a card you really want printed. But like continually doing it, and like it's like the thing is like instead of giving abilities to other colors that they didn't have before, that already exist, like make up new ones to give to colors. Like I actually agree with the whole prowess thing where they like gave prowess as a like an evergreen ability to red and blue.
Sure.
Because like I agree, it makes red and blue creatures more interesting to play against in limited.
Yes.
So that was like a good thing they did, instead of just like I don't know, like instead of just like giving like it'd be like giving a flying and vigilance creature to black green, while it may be technically within the color pie, would be like giving like a red creature like a cantrip when it comes into play. It's just dumb.
Yeah, which it's dumb. It doesn't fit the color pie. I think red is like the weakest of all colors. We can talk about this on another episode, but
red. No, we should definitely go into. Yeah, red's just like burn, haste. That's like all it does. So anyway, I'm glad we got that. So, in your opinion, do you think that like so apparently like this was like a big question, like people who got this wrong were like eliminated from the competition? Do you think so? People were saying that they should like they should count both answers, like they should have counted both blue, white, and black, green. But they were like very hard on that. They weren't going to change it, and that the only answer you could have picked was black, green. Do you think they should have changed it?
I think one way of looking at it may be that. I think if that card were to exist, the fact that the only information you're given is the stats of the card and its two abilities, you don't know what the mana cost is. To me, it just sounds like some either uncommon from a weird set like Alara or Invasion block or something like that, if he's claiming that it's black-green, or it's just some like junky uncommon that is also from a weird set. And I think I don't know. I think it could be a question that maybe he's lying about the true answer, and it just serves to weed out candidates. Maybe they had way more people apply to this contest, and they need to find a way to greatly reduce the number of participants.
Oh, quickly. I didn't think about it that way. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, like when you go to school and like say you want to be a you want to get a biology degree, they make you take physics, and physics like loosely is applicable to biology, but it's kind of one of those weed out classes, somewhere like organic chemistry or something. There's certain they put certain roadblocks in your path to just cut down the group of or the potential number of people that can make it to the next step, and maybe that's the purpose of a question like that, because I easily fell into it. And I mean, I'm not claiming I could design great Magic cards or anything, but I would have been eliminated, and I guess probably 90% of people would be too.
Yes, a lot of people were eliminated, and I think the people were just salty about it. I wish they would just admit that it was a poorly worded question, but they kind of like doubled down for a pretty little. These people always double down. But you
Yes,
know.
it is.
But anyway, we don't have to talk about this anymore because I
At
just
some
wanted to
point,
get. I want.
at some point, Mark Rosewaters is going to be rolling D20s and be like, "All right, guess the number," and those people get to move on.
It'll be like high or low, high or low. Man, okay. Let's see. Okay.
So
the next
are you
topic.
satisfied? Yeah. Okay.
Am I satisfied? No. You answered the question exactly how I thought you would.
Okay.
So I guess I'm satisfied. Because I mean, I like being right, but like if you had said black green, I would have gasped. I would I would have.
Super genius, but that's not me. So
Yeah, I know.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, I can't. Oh man. Mark Rosewater is well, I think he is a talented designer. Like you don't get to the place he's in by not being a talented designer. But I think
he's a smart guy.
I think that's his greatest fault though. Is I think he's so smart I think he thinks he's a mad genius. To where like everything I do is golden, and not everything he's done is golden. And
we have to thank the gods that periodically Richard Garfield is brought back on to be part of design teams, because I feel like he's the only person capable of smacking him around if need be.
Yeah, but I mean, Richard Garfield doesn't even they bring him on as like a guest to like help on like what was he a guest to help on? It was like one of the like
Innistrad. I know he helped with Innistrad. I don't know if he's helped in it with anything since, but
yeah.
The more I play games and the more I like learn more about Magic and other games that Richard Garfield's created, he is so smart. I don't know. I just don't think there's anybody on his level like alive today when it comes to game like structures and things. And yeah, I mean Mark Rosewater is great at Magic, but I would think Richard Garfield can probably knock him back in line if need be.
Okay. Right. I agree. So we'll move on to I guess current events and kind of politics topic. So last week the Obama and Michelle presidential and first lady portraits were revealed.
Yes, not the White House portraits, but the ones done by the Smithsonian Museum.
Yeah, the ones that go into like a museum. Yeah, the ones that go in a museum for like all to see. Yeah. And we'll say that they both looked very questionable. I think the Obama one in particular was very questionable. RC, do you have any introductory thoughts on these?
Yes. Okay. So if you haven't heard of these paintings, I just suggest you do a Google search of them. Just do presidential portraits, Smithsonian, Barack Obama, Michelle Obama. It looks like an artist named Kehinde Wiley did the portrait of Barack Obama, and Amy Sherald did a painting did the painting of Michelle Obama. And if you look at these paintings, they are. Well, I guess we can talk about them one at a time. The one of Barack Obama is like a picture of him sitting on a wooden chair. He's wearing a business suit, sitting in a wooden chair in front of looks like a garden hedge or some sort of foliage. But the first thing that jumps out to me is the contrast of the president and then the background. What jumps out to you, Mike?
The background is what like if you had showed me this and been like, this is an official presidential portrait, I would have been like, what? I thought this would be something that college students can buy to hang on their wall at like Spencer's Gifts or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
this is not like an official. There's no way this is the official thing. Like, this is just like, oh man, like to me, it looks like, all right, I'll be honest. Like the green stuff just looks like weed leaves to me. I understand they're not.
Yes, I've heard that. I've heard that criticism.
But by just like first looking at it, right? If you had no context, I would have been like, oh, this is like an Obama weed poster that someone hung up in their dorm. Not.
Yeah,
like
it's. I know I gotta say, most of the thoughts I have on this are not my original. They're not my original thoughts. Because I heard other people talk about this, but I'm glad that we're talking about it on the show because it's something that I think people need to look at and just kind of think about because it's very strange, especially when you compare it to other presidential paintings that are in the Smithsonian. The background is very strange. It's like this bright, like mint colored leaves everywhere. He's not really. There's no discernible ground that he's like sitting on. He almost looks like he's like floating in front of a hedge on this chair, and there's certain like leaves that are overlapping him. Almost like he's kind of like they're growing over him, or he's like fading back into the hedge. And some people have compared this to a Homer Simpson meme.
Oh yeah, where he like just goes into the. It's like
where he like slowly backs into the hedge, and I guess you can add whatever words you want to the meme to be like. Whenever you're kind of like shying away from something,
yeah, and when Trump is like destroying your entire legacy, in less
like
than a
fade
year.
into the bushes.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I guess there's many interpretations for this painting, but it's very strange. It's hard to think that it's going to be sitting in one of our nation's our nation's probably most famous and respectable museum for. However long the American Empire continues to exist. But this will be sitting alongside of many other presidential paintings where the president is depicted in a more, I would say, powerful, dignified pose in an office or inside the room of a building somewhere. This is just kind of weird to like put him out in the garden. And yeah, I mean, you can read into that, whatever you want, but it's a bizarre painting.
Like I guess you're just trying to be unique with it, but I feel like when it comes to being the president of the United States, like doing like experimental art is not.
I know
is not what you're doing it. You know what I mean? Like leave that for your communist comic books or whatever you want to do, but in the Smithsonian, and you could tell, like, did you watch like the reveal they did on like the stage?
I saw little clips of it. I didn't see the full reveal. Did you see the full reveal?
Well, yeah, I mean, I haven't seen like the whole thing, but I saw the part where they revealed this painting, and the artist and Obama both walk up to like pull down the curtain or whatever, and you see when like the thing comes down, like people like start clapping, but I hear like audible like coming from the crowd, and I see like Obama's face where he's just like, yeah, this is good, right? And it's like you can tell that he knows it's not good too.
Yeah.
Like I was like immediately he was like, oh, I made a mistake here. But
I find it hard to believe he hadn't seen the painting before the unveiling. Did you?
I mean, maybe he's just saw. Maybe I could just be reading too much into his reaction for sure. But to me, it seemed like that was his first time seeing it, and it did not go well.
No.
But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I was wrong on that. I would say I'm most likely wrong on that. But to me, that's just I call it how I see him, and that's how I saw it.
All right. I want to say two like weird kind of like little conspiracy things that I've heard.
Oh, okay. I'd love to hear this.
Okay, so because art, I'm not well versed in art, but everybody kind of has an opinion on it, and you can read into artworks, many different ways. And artists aren't stupid people. They put like secret messages and stuff in their paintings from time to time. But one thing I've heard is the hand, I guess his left hand. It looks like he could have like a sixth finger that's like hidden under his fifth finger. Because if you look at his hand, there's like this like fleshy pad. Like we all have like this fleshy pad on the outside of our palm. And the artist is clearly talented. I mean, he knows how to draw or paint the chair and a human figure very realistically. But for him to like overemphasize this fleshy pad on the side of the palm, it almost looks like there's a sixth finger kind of tucked under his hand. And I don't know what that would symbolize or what that means. But that's kind of like an interesting little critique that like this, out of all the anatomy being so correct, that one thing is a little like off. And I don't know, do you have any thoughts on that, or is that?
No, I'm looking at it now, and you're saying it's his left hand, right?
Yeah, the one that
his left, the one that's over
left.
top.
Yes, the one that's over top with the wedding ring on it.
Yeah, I guess I can see that though.
I don't know.
To me it looks more like a tumor than a six finger. I don't know. That could just be me though.
All right. Well, the other thing is, and the image I'm looking at right now is not going to really show, but you need to like really zoom in on his left temple where there's a lot of sunlight hitting the left side of his head.
Uh-huh.
If you zoom in on the temple, there's a vein that Barack Obama has there, which many people have. But the way it's drawn is part of it looks very realistic, and then the other part kind of folds back and becomes thick again. And if you look at photos of Barack Obama, he does have that vein there, but it's not in that shape. And I mean, it's only partially depicted correctly. And some people have said it looks like a sperm.
Oh wow, I do see that.
Do you see that? No, I mean, okay, for people who haven't listened to this show before, this is not the direction we're going to continually take things, but it's something that's worth talking about because it's an interesting theory. I mean, this is going to be a historically significant piece of artwork, and there's some bizarre things with it. So his temple, it looks like there could be a sperm there, and I've heard some people theorize that this might go in with the whole conspiracy theory of possibly Barack Obama being some sort of closeted homosexual. There's been, I don't know if you've heard of this, Mike, but there's been like one or two speeches where he was talking about Michelle, but he calls her Michael. And I don't know if that's like a Freudian slip or whatever, but he like talks about me and Michael were doing this. And I don't know. I'm not claiming one thing or the other, but it's very interesting that it's depicted that way. And yeah, I don't know, because have you ever heard anything like that about like Obama possibly being on that side of the fence, so to speak?
Oh, I mean, I've heard every rumor in the world. The one that I usually hear more is that Michelle's a dude in disguise.
I think and that I mean, if that would make sense, if Barack Obama was homosexual or at the least bisexual, and possibly Michelle Obama could be a transgendered individual or a man masquerading as a woman.
Yeah, I mean, did you have the kids though? And that's a tough one to get around.
That is. I wonder if they've done a 23andMe test to see.
Well, that'll never get done in a million years, you know that. No. But he's like, but
I don't know. Just that's all I wanted to say about the Obama portrait. A strange piece of artwork.
It is strange, yeah.
I want to talk about the Michelle Obama one. I've looked at that one less and analyzed it less.
I have no conspiracies about it. All I know is that whoever they picked to be the artist is awful, and it's well, like it doesn't. Not that it's the worst piece of. It doesn't look like her. It doesn't look like her. And this is the other thing is they made her look like a woman.
They did make her look like a woman. I'm actually, now that I'm actually looking for like secret like phallic symbology or something that maybe like put in there, but I'm not.
Do you know the whole story behind the artist she chose? Like what the artist has done before?
No, I don't know the story of the artist. Do you?
Oh, okay. So the not really a story, but like the whole this artist she chose has like these pieces of art where she shows black women like holding like severed heads of like white women and like that kind of stuff.
I think that might be the same guy who painted the Barack Obama painting.
Are you sure? I thought it was the one who did the Michelle one.
Well, I don't know. I thought it was the one that painted Barack Obama, but it could be the one who painted Michelle.
I thought. Oh man, I hope I'm not wrong. Let me look this up.
I'm actually quite sure it's the one who painted Barack.
You're quite sure it was the one painted Barack? Okay.
Yeah.
Then
yeah.
I'm sorry. I will retract my statement. Like, comment, and subscribe. If
this is the type of like facts and
this is the type of
investigative commentary you're gonna get from our show.
Yeah, this is the kind of stuff. Anyway, all right. So yeah, the only comment I had about the Michelle one was the fact that it doesn't look like her.
No.
And then I thought about like the whole like beheading of white people thing, but I was wrong about that. So I guess we can just move on then.
Okay, to me, it looks like To me, it looks like someone handed the artist like a palette of paints, and there were like maybe 5 colors on it, and they said, "Here, you got to paint a whole painting using these 5 colors." One, I mean, the background looks unfinished. It looks like when you prime a painting when you're going to like add more detail later, and you just leave it. Like it looks like they just left it as is because it's just solid color background. The laugh line on her face is like almost like overemphasized, like something a college art student would do, because it makes her, it's not realistic. She doesn't have that like dark laugh line, that dark crease in her face. And okay, I'll just add to the conspiracy theory thing. Her ring finger, she's tucking her hand under her chin, and her ring finger looks to be longer than her index finger, which is a biological sign of a man. The testosterone that a man has when he goes through puberty actually causes his ring finger to grow longer than his index finger. So if you look at your hand as a male, if you have a longer ring finger than your index finger, that's a sign that you had testosterone while you're developing. Women generally have either their index and ring finger the same length, or the ring finger will be shorter than their index finger.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Maybe they put that in there. I don't know.
Maybe that's actually pretty cool. Here's the title of an article about this. Michelle's portrait. Michelle Obama's portrait isn't the photograph. Get over it. I love those article titles. They're just like, get over it.
He's not pretty. Deal with it.
Yeah, just deal with it. I saw one. My favorite one of those was disgusting. By the way, this isn't Game of Thrones spoilers, but I guess if you want like, whatever, this isn't spoilers.
We'll
so
have
you
to
can
do a Game of Thrones show at some point and just talk about the whole series. That'd be great.
Yeah, we should do that. But this isn't spoilers. But there was just an article that came out before the last season of Game of Thrones. Maisie Williams is the one that plays Arya Stark. And they basically, the title of the article, and I remembered, I could look it up again, but the title of the article was basically, Maisie Williams is going to have a sex scene in this season of Game of Thrones, so you got to deal with it. And I was just like, okay, like what? Like, why do you, like, I don't understand, like, what's the point of titling your article like that? Like, just like, oh, I know you're not going to like this, but you're just going to have to, I'm so angry. I'm just so angry.
I mean, a few things here. First, I know she depicts in the show, she's depicting a 9 or 10-year-old girl, but like in real life, I don't know how old she is. She's probably much older than that, probably like 16 or 17.
I think she's over 20.
Okay, she's over 20. So like, end of discussion. Who the hell gives a shit?
And in the show, I think she so in the book she's much younger, but in the show, I think she's in her teens.
She is in her teens at this point. Okay,
I think so. I could be wrong. But because I know, like they raised the ages of basically everyone in the book to be older. Because in the book, there's like all these like horrible like pedophilic rapes of children. I'm pretty sure, and they didn't want to add that to the television show.
George
anyway,
R. R. Martin.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he's a good writer, I guess. Because I haven't read the books, but I mean, obviously they're very popular, so he has to know something he's doing. Doing right, but but anyway, I just wanted to like, I just thought of that because when I read the article, like, I just don't understand why you're just assuming that everyone's just gonna have to deal with it, just like, to me that's the words "deal with it" are a very infamous line in a television show that went horribly wrong, that I wanted to be good but wasn't. But we can get into that later. All right, so we'll just move on to our next topic here.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do a quick little update because this just broke today. Well, this part of it broke today. So we might split our audience here, but this is a very favorite creator of mine right now.
Okay.
The guy, Diversity in Comics, Richard C. Meyer is his name. It has a very successful YouTube channel where he talks about social justice infecting comics and how there's just like this insane club of far left ideologues basically running the comics industry right now, and they're just running it into the ground because they're treating it like a club rather than a business.
Yeah.
So as is like, imagine if you were a hot dog. This is the one he always brings up. Imagine if you're a hot dog vendor, and like before you sell someone a hot dog, you have to ask them if they're a Nazi. I'm like it's just like, yeah.
It's way more important to signal how righteous and correct you are than actually turn a profit.
Mm-hmm. Like they have a thing called they're post sale. They live in a post sales world where sales don't matter. It's all about your
of course
opinion.
Not.
Yeah. But anyway, so this person on Twitter, I don't want to name them because I don't think they deserve to be named. They deserve to be just forgotten about and left to, I don't know, with their cats. But
as is the fate of many a person on the internet.
Yeah. So this person is a comic writer for Image Comics, and if you want to find them on Twitter, I'm sure you can find it. It's pretty easy to find. But this all started when they basically this Diversity Comics guy is a war veteran. He served in Iraq and Afghanistan. I think he was in the Army and the Marines, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And they wished death upon. Basically said that this person wished Diversity Comics died from an IED explosion, which is like a horrific way to die in Iraq and Afghanistan. And he takes it in stride because he's a military guy, so it doesn't matter. Do you have something to say, RC?
Yeah. Well, is there a comment in particular that he made, or is it just his general like opinion on a piece that drove this individual to make that comment?
So apparently they just found like a roast video he did on him like way back. Like apparently they had an article talking about him in a comics magazine. And he like roasted it and then just like apparently, okay, so I'll just apparently the person in question is trans. And Diversity Comics gets hit with the transphobe label a lot, even though he doesn't have a problem with trans people. It just, he just has a problem with the first few certain creators who seem to obsess about violence and everything they do.
Sure.
But in addition to all other horrible things. But anyway, so that happened, and a very well-known left-wing journalist named Kurt Eichenwald decided to defend Richard C. Meyer, Diversity in Comics, on his Twitter platform, and basically said that this person was awful for saying that he should die, he should have died by IED. Like, what happened to common decency?
That's a very respectable thing to do. Okay,
it's a very respectable thing to do. Like, you would think that's a very reasonable response. Like that's the normie response, right? Like, that's the normal person. Like, when you see someone like wishing that a veteran died by IED, if they're not like a child rapist, that's pretty beyond the pale, right?
Right. But I have a feeling the story doesn't end there.
No, the story does not end there, RC. This guy.
I'm so Kurt Eichenwald, he didn't save the day. Okay, so what else happened?
So Diversity Comics makes a video where he has videos where he does comic reviews and then videos where he just goes over like Twitter drama, basically. So this was a Twitter drama video where he shows Kurt Eichenwald's tweets and is like, while I agree, he's like, I agree with what he's saying. Like, this guy's just having the normie. He said what I just basically said, where this guy had the normie response. Like, even this guy who's like a far left Democrat is seeing that this is awful, beyond the pale behavior from a person who represents a company, right? But Richard C. Meyer also said that because of past things that Kurt Eichenwald done, and I don't think we need to go over everything he's done in detail. I think it's a waste too much time. But if you want to just Google Kurt Eichenwald and some of his scandals, the guy's a sketchy dude, and the guy seems like a sketchy dude. And
does he eat calamari by any chance?
Yeah, we'll just say that this is a person who we'll just give the short of it. Tried to sue a teenager for sending them a GIF over Twitter. And watch tentacle porn with their family. So
all right, that seems wholesome.
So Diversity in Comics basically said, this guy emailed me, but I didn't email him back because I don't want to be associated with him. He's a very sketchy dude. I wouldn't leave my children alone with him. All right. He gets an email back from this guy, and the only reason we know is because Diversity in Comics like skimmed the email, didn't even read the whole thing, skimmed it, and then just posted the whole thing to Twitter because he's a Marine. He doesn't give a shit. So it's so basically the email said like, respond and I will sue you. Basically, is what like the title of the email was, and basically he like goes down the list of how like he claims that Diversity in Comics said he was a pedophile. Never said that. He never said that. Like all the things he's accusing of him is not true. All he said he was a sketchy dude he wouldn't leave his children with. That is not. That is a personal opinion. That is not. Basically, saying it's defamation of character. He's going to take him to court. And I love this line. I literally watched the most recent video before we started, and he was just like, yes, the court thing sounds good to you because you're in the court inside your head, but the problem is you're going to have to go to a real world court, and that's where you're going to run into problems. So basically, he said that he has to retract his statement, apologize, and like say that Kurt Eichenwald is like a really nice guy, or else he's going to sue him. And he's just like, dude, I don't have to do anything.
Absolutely, he has a YouTube channel. Why the hell? Why does he have to do anything at all?
Yeah, he doesn't have to do anything. This guy says, and so this guy's like, he's like showing the page, like literally, he's just like, literally. So this Kirk guy sees that he's like posting his emails on Twitter, and he's getting all roasted for it. And like, one of the comments I saw was like, for my man, Mr. Mediker. He's a YouTuber. If you want to look him up, he's great. He like said like send him some pictures of squid that should keep him busy for a few minutes.
We calm him down a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So he's like obsessed. Like he shows his email inbox. It's like 6 straight emails from Kurt Eichenwald from to Diversity in Comics, right? So I just wanted to say about that because I think it's funny. I don't really have a lot of analysis other than the person who, of course, the far left person who said that Diversity in Comics should die in IED, should not be representing any company. If I was in charge, she'd be fired. Or he, whatever, would be fired. And Kurt Eichenwald, while he did have a very reasonable normie opinion, has now just flipped into this crazy ex-girlfriend thing toward Diversity in Comics, and I can't wait for it to unfold. I'm hoping to have updates at least till next week because I'm hoping more stuff happens with this.
Yes.
Like I don't want to put like Diversity in Comics is a guy I like, and I wouldn't want him to go through a lawsuit. But honestly, I almost hope that Kurt Eichenwald tries to sue him, just so like he could just be like, well, no, just no, just like the judge will just be like, dismissed. You're gonna have to pay for his legal fees. Is
right,
what
I'm gonna have to start following Diversity in Comics and get. I
highly recommend it, dude. He's very funny. He's very funny. He's got like a very how do I describe it? He has a unique personality. I mean, everyone does, but he has a unique personality, and he has good roasts and is funny, in my opinion. So I would highly recommend. Obviously, he has like 1 billion more subscribers than we do. But if anybody ever sees this and has not heard of Diversity in Comics, check him out. He's great.
All right. So as of now, based on the current information we have at our disposal, we are siding with Diversity in Comics, but we will follow this story as it develops.
I don't expect to, unless Diversity in Comics comes out and like starts threatening Kurt's children or something. I don't expect to switch sides. This guy's a war veteran. He's just like a dude. Like he describes himself as a normie. He's just like, I want comics to be better. I just don't want I'm tired of comics just being for people who vote straight to Democrat and are like anybody right of Stalin is a Nazi.
Not the target demographic.
Yeah. So anyway, that's that. RC, do you want to introduce the next topic?
Yes. Okay. This is I guess getting on the philosophy side of things. There's no real one event that I guess spurred this, but I wanted to talk about the concept of artificial intelligence, which I know is a very large topic. There's a lot of different directions we could take this. I just kind of wanted to use this as sort of a brainstorming topic.
Yeah, for sure.
This is probably something we're going to revisit many times in the future.
That's what I was going to say. Like, we could have a discussion, but I think where AI is just, to me, is something I'm very interested in, and I would love to cover it in other sections as well. So
Sure.
yeah. So what are some
So,
overarching themes of AI that you want to introduce?
well, I guess when I'm I guess currently we all have some degree of AI that's available to us right now. But the thing that is concerning is how far is this technology going to go? Which direction is it going to take us in? And at the very far end of possibilities, is this going to be something that competes with human interest or possibly pose a threat to humanity at some point in the future? Or is it going to be the thing that enables us to travel to other worlds and relieve us of all labor and burdens? So, do you have any experience like using Surrey, for example?
Excuse me. Well, yeah, but as I understand it, those like they're pretty primitive if we're going to compare them to like actually like movie versions of artificial intelligence,
Yes, yeah.
obviously. But like what we're capable of now, as far as I've seen, is when it comes to like things like Siri,
Mm-hmm.
is we have things that have access to basically the entire internet,
Mm-hmm.
and can provide information based on that, or the best information it can, or whatever information the people who made it want you to hear. Uh,
Right, that's
yeah.
true. Yeah. So
But
right now, the stuff that's available to us, the artificial intelligence that seems like it's available to us, has the ability to uh, understand language or understand verbal commands and search databases and then reply in a format that we can understand.
yes, and they can also perform basically rudimentary tasks as well. Like you can tell it to turn off your lights, open your garage.
That's true.
Like,
That's true. Yeah.
yes, like so it can perform tasks, but nothing complex. You can't tell it to bake you a cake,
Right.
but you can tell it to put eggs on your shopping list to bake your cake.
That's right.
Um,
That's right. Okay. Yeah. So
um,
that's what we have available to us. I would say the military probably has a much higher level of AI available to them, but still nothing that's like completely independent. It still requires input from the user. Drones and things like that come to mind when I'm thinking of like AI that's utilized by the military. Those little bomb diffusing robots, those type of things.
yeah, and those are just like remote control devices.
Yes, they
Uh,
are. Yeah.
and I'm sure they have like there are different types, but the AI that I'm most worried about is what's coming from third party companies.
Okay.
Um,
Uh, so two things. It seems to me I haven't done a lot of research on this, but the two big players in this idea of artificial intelligence to me right now seem to be Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. Would
well, yeah,
you?
they seem to be the most interested in it.
Yes, yeah, the most
Well, at
interested in
least,
it.
well, of the people that are famous that are most, I'm sure there are. I'm sure there's
People behind the
scientists
scenes.
I'm sure there's scientists working in all types of countries on artificial intelligence, but those are the ones that we hear about on a daily basis because they're household names.
Sure.
Um,
So there was a. Well, what's your take? Do you have any knowledge of how Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk view the concept of artificial intelligence?
so Mark Zuckerberg is very optimistic about the future of
Of
artificial
course he
intelligence.
is.
Yeah, he
Okay.
is.
Yes.
Whereas I think Elon Musk actually takes the opposite opinion, if I understand correctly.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Whereas
right.
he's worried that humans will go too far too fast and create something they can't control.
Yeah,
Uh,
you're right. You're right. Okay. Yeah.
whereas Mark is just like, hey man, let's just keep putting money into this, see where it goes.
Plug in the matrix. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So one thing I heard was like from Mark Zuckerberg's perspective is at Facebook they had created two different AIs, and then they created a way in which the two AIs could interact with one another and like speak with each other through text or whatever. Have you heard of this story?
No, please.
Right.
If you can give me
Right.
give me the,
So what I
give me
heard, this is what I heard, is that Facebook created two AIs, and they created a platform where they could interact with one another and communicate, and it was like done over a live feed, or it was streamed live, And within like a few minutes, the two AIs had started developing their own language that was like more efficient than the English language. And they just started communicating in this like language that they had kind of invented on the fly. And Mark Zuckerberg asked, like, he shut everything down, like on the live stream. They just like shut everything down. I guess they got spooked or whatever. But that's like how fast these like simplistic quote unquote AIs like develop something. And we're able to like outthink humans that quickly. Now, I'm not saying either one of these AIs was sentient, but the speed at which an AI can compute just a simple like math equation like far outstrips what a human being can do.
Well, no, that's the scary part, right? Is
that's what's so scary? Yeah, it's like they don't have like. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Add human consciousness to something that can calculate math at the rate a supercomputer can. That's going to be trouble. Like that's bad. That's like I think we're lucky that Stephen Hawking has that. I don't want to. I'll just say it. I think we're lucky that Stephen Hawking is in that wheelchair, because I feel like if he was just like a fully like capable man, he'd like control the world by now, because that's how like smart he is.
He's that smart.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, that's in my opinion. Like I think he's like that intelligent that like it's almost like it's like it's awful. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to make fun of Stephen Hawking, but
no, I don't think you're making fun of him. I think you're pointing out just how brilliant he is, and like
I like the rate at which he can like. I'm not saying he's as fast as no human is as fast as like a supercomputer, but but I'm just saying that like you could just look at the difference between humans who are like incredibly intelligent versus ones who aren't, like, and how their lives end up, like how much they can achieve.
If you give smart people a certain amount of time to complete a task, and then you give like less intelligent people the same amount of time to complete that task, and both people have the same resources, and you see how fast the smart people can put the automobile together compared to the stupid people. It's like that times 1,000 when you like get AI involved.
Yeah, it's like it gets way exponentially like it's on a scale that I'm not even sure that we can't even like comprehend well. Like we can imagine it, but it's like imagining a fourth dimension. Like it's just our brains. I don't think our brains are able to just like, since our brains work in a third dimensional world, they cannot imagine what a fourth dimensional world would look like. Right. I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist here, but I'm just like that's just the example that came to mind, where they just like just like your brain probably like couldn't comprehend like what
another
a black
color, another color.
Another color. Yeah, like another color you've never seen before. Like it's so foreign to you. Maybe it's not that foreign, like I know what another color would be, but it's like on that level where I don't think that's the thing. The lay person, like I think like Elon Musk understands this, but I think the lay person does not understand how exponentially more efficient a computer is than a person.
Yes.
At doing the tasks. The only reason we're superior is because we have consciousness, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you gave a computer consciousness, they now become the supreme being of your world.
If it gets consciousness, yeah. I mean, however that would be achieved, I don't know. If you just keep increasing the intelligence of something or the computational power of something, will it eventually translate to intelligence and then eventually translate to sentience? I don't know, because I mean we call this artificial intelligence, and it's computational power, computational power, and then pattern recognition. And at some point, I mean, you could make a super smart computer, but the thing would never become. It's possible that it would never become sentient. So like it could just solve problems for you really quickly, but it's never going to like get motivations of its own. I mean, that's very possible. I think everyone's fear is that, it's going to become so smart that at some point there's this barrier that's breached where super intelligence becomes sentience.
Yes. And, yes. Sorry. Excuse me.
That's okay. I can keep talking if you want.
No. I like had the cough and I was trying to hold it in. But,
that's
fine. What I think is a more realistic version of AI that could have, maybe this isn't, but in my opinion, what I think we're close to is than an actual just AI gaining consciousness, as opposed to like a singularity kind of thing, like being able to transfer a human brain into a computer.
An electronic thing.
Yeah, like making like just taking the information off of the brain and putting it into a computer, and then you have a sentient thing that also has the computational power of a computer, that exists. That's one thing. Like that's one thing I joke about is like, oh, that's my dream. Is like I hope that like because I don't ever want to die, so like I just want my brain put into an android, and then I can just live for as long as I want, and it doesn't matter because I'm an android or whatever.
Dude, that's one of the concepts in. I don't want to talk about this too much because I haven't read very much about it, but I'm just starting to read some of the source material for the Android universe where Android Netrunner takes place, and that's one of the things that two of the corporations like work with in that universe is transferring human minds onto digital formats, which they call brain taping, and that as of now, that is a very realistic way of achieving immortality.
Yeah, and
in theory,
in my opinion, humans have already achieved immortality, but that's from a more spiritual, I guess, section.
I'm talking about physical immortality, not physical like actual immortality.
Yeah, physical immortality, like on Earth. Yes, I think we're not we're not close to, but we're closer than you think. Would be my opinion, right?
Okay.
We're like, yeah, I don't think like right now the best we got is Siri or Alexa, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in 100 years, I don't know.
We might have Siri 2.0.
Yes.
She'll know the questions you're going to ask before you even ask it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, you're hungry right now. It's lunchtime. I'll tell you. Here's the places you can go to eat lunch. Oh my God, the future's awesome.
Yeah. No, it'll be like, you ever seen the movie? You ever seen WALL-E?
WALL-E. I love WALL-E, man. That's one of the. Yeah. I think that's one of my favorite. That and probably Toy Story 1 are like tied for my favorite Pixar movie. Yeah, I like WALL-E.
WALL-E's great, and that's what I imagine the future ending up being. Is that
like blobs in outer space, like letting robots do the work?
Yeah, like if technology keeps going the way it's going, then I don't see it being. Oh man. Like I don't see it being any way different. I don't think that the entire world will just become trash. I think that's stupid. But that's just me.
Yeah.
But no, I love that movie too. That movie's great.
It's a good movie.
And then you have the whole like HAL 9000 thing happening at the end.
Yeah. I forget his name, but yeah, he's like the pilot of the ship. He steers the whole ship.
Yeah, and he's just. Otto, I think, is his name.
Otto.
Yeah, because he's the autopilot.
Yeah.
His name is Otto.
I like the little cleaner bot, Mo. It stands for microbe obliterator. He's the guy who like scans the robots and be like foreign contaminant. I like that little robot.
Oh man!
If you sometimes I'm like cleaning something up, like, foreign contaminant.
If you would ask me what's your favorite robot from like WALL-E, if you would have given me 5 minutes, I would have came up with the right answer. Like if I just had to think about what the robots were, I would have just been like, "Oh, it's that guy," because I don't even know his name, but I knew it'd be the guy that like cleans.
Yeah, he's cool. That's a great movie.
We could go into
I love the other. Yeah, go. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
I was just saying, in future, we plan on doing top 10 lists, and one we could do in the future is top 10 Pixar movies. We could go into more detail about.
For Pixar, has Pixar even made 10 movies?
Yeah, they made like 20. I'm pretty sure by now.
20.
Maybe we could
do. We don't have to list them all out, but yeah, I mean, we could do top 10 Pixar movies, or top 10 like animated movies might be a good way.
Yeah, animated movies,
excluding manga or anime.
Jesus. Okay. Whatever. I see shot across the bow there.
No, but I'm saying you can make an entire top 10 just off of that.
Oh, now you're trying to get into my good graces.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that would be a good one to have Joe on for.
I disagree.
Disagree. He has bad taste. All right, Mike's calling out Joe right now.
He is a horrible. Joe is horrible. Never mind. We don't have to make
For
this
all the
Joe
listeners at
podcast.
home, Joe is our friend that Mike and I share in common, and
Yeah,
we go back and forth on how much we like him, but I guess he keeps sticking around. So,
yeah, like he's all right, you know. Well, we'll have him discuss like top 10 next generation Star Trek episodes, I guess.
I'll be able to contribute very little on that one.
Yeah, me too. I'm not a fan, so whatever.
But getting back to AI, it's a very big topic. I think we only just scratched the surface, but we can definitely flesh this out more in the future.
No, I'd like to do like current events on AI when they do like the ones that scare me now is they have like the robots now that can like from like just like from like trial and error they can like figure out how to open doors and stuff. Like you don't even.
I've seen the ones that like it's like a humanoid shape. You like punch it really strong in the chest or kick it or whatever. The thing falls over and then it just gets back up like in maybe 15 seconds. And I'm just thinking like, okay, they already have like the biomechanics down of making, like you said, okay, it can open doors and stuff, or it can fall down and get back up. Or I've seen videos of where they're walking through the woods and like on uneven terrain and stuff. Just put like a super smart AI into that thing, and it's like that's a real opponent. If you have to like fight a war with, I mean, because the thing can take bullets like, for a long time before the thing's actually damaged.
Mm-hmm. For sure, and like the one that like that was the thing that worried me the most is I saw that they designed a robot like not that they don't tell it how to open the door. They just say you have to get from this point to this point, figure it out, and the robot itself from trial and error figures out that the door can be opened and then how to open it.
Now, was this a door that was like has that long push bar in the center of it, or does it actually have like a knob that you turn?
It is a knob you turn.
Like a circular knob, or like
it was a flat. Bar it was like the bar knob kind of.
Okay, the bar knob. Okay, so this robot is just as smart as a Velociraptor. That is scary.
Dude.
Robots versus Velociraptors.
Dude, but what if they put an AI in a robot that looks like a Velociraptor? Is that the ultimate killing machine?
That is insane.
That's so. By the way, that's the worst. Jurassic Park's a great movie. That's the worst part. The fact that the Velociraptor can figure out how to open the door, I think is.
That's smart. Have you seen Jurassic Park 2 when they actually talk?
Yeah,
like the spoken language, they get more and more like crazy as time goes on.
I'm like, oh, hold on, these guys, there's no way they were that smart. They're like descended from like birds. Like they're not that smart. Like,
well, like birds use tools. Like some birds use sticks to grab worms out of like logs and things. There's no
birds that use tools. There's no way. They have beaks that do that. They don't use tools.
Did you ever read any of Aesop's fables?
Some of them, yeah.
There was a lot of his fables are based off of like observations made of the natural world, and one of them was about a crow that was thirsty and wanted a drink, and there was a pitcher of water that was only halfway full, and he went and grabbed stones and put it in the pitcher to raise the level of the water up so that he could grab a drink.
Okay, that never happened though.
Birds use tools, man. Look it up.
Look it up. Educate yourself. All right, like, comment, and subscribe if you guys think birds use tools.
Yes. And do we want to, as a touchstone, go off by, we'll sign off the show, rather, by talking about the price of Pithing Needle, the hot rising card that everyone.
I totally forgot. I can't believe I forgot. So just so you guys know that Pithing Needle, the perfect answer to your Jason Mind Sculptors in Modern.
And I predicted it here on the Geek Culture and Philosophy podcast. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
If you want more inside tips, you can email us at gcappodcast@gmail.com.
That's correct.
You can get lightly played versions right now for $3.59 on TCG Player.
So that's week one.
Week one. So I'll write that down, and we'll see. The price is about to explode because this was the first weekend where Jace was legal. And yeah,
that's
you
my
could just
prediction.
say you could say like, oh, I'll just build a Jund deck that's really good against Jace. No, that's not going to be good enough. You're going to need some pith. You're going to need to play Tezzeret, Agent of Bolus, and some Pithing Needles. So
that's correct, because you just play the Pithing Needle and shut down the Liliana of the Veil, or the Raging Ravine or any other thing that has an activated ability, just Pithing Needle, shut it down. Pithing Needle, shut it down. And then a turn later, look out, you got a 5/5 swinging at you. So.
You ever hear this story where someone like totally destroyed someone with Pithing Needle using like not cheating, but it was like I guess what's it called? Like angle shooting, I guess is what it's called.
Ankle shooting?
Angle shooting, like
shooting. Okay.
like a acute angle. Where like, okay, so the guy has a dark, so he's playing against a guy who has a Dark Confidant, 1 land, and 3 Scalding Tarns in play, right?
Okay.
So he calls a judge over and says, "Can I name Dark Confidant with this?" Pointing at Pithing Needle, right, like out loud to his opponent.
Yeah.
And the judge replies, "Yes," because you can name any card with Pithing Needle, even if it doesn't shut down the ability, which it does. Okay. It doesn't shut down the ability in Dark Confidant.
That's so right. It's a triggered ability. Yeah.
Yeah. So he casts Pithing Needle, and his opponent's just like, "Oh, he's going to name Dark Confidant, and it's not going to work, so I'm just going to let it resolve." He lets it resolve when he goes Scalding Tarn. And and he just did 1 mana, 3 Stone Rains on this guy. Like
that is a mindfuck. That is awesome.
Yeah, like the whole and not the fact that he just did it, it's the fact that he called a judge over to like misdirect his opponent into thinking he was stupid. Like I think to me that's like the greatest Pithing Needle story I've ever heard.
That is a good story, yeah. So it's a powerful card is what we're trying to say.
Yeah, no. It's a super powerful card. So if your opponent has 3 Scalding Tarns to play, they're about to crack to play Jace, you'd be like, Scalding Tarn. You could call a judge over to ask if you can name Dark Confidant, and then name Scalding Tarn. Anyway, sorry, I guess we went on a little too long on Pithing Needle, but
it won't be the first time. We promise you that it's a powerful.
Yeah, I know this. We might be changing it to the Geek Culture and Pithing Needle podcast. We're not sure yet. But anyway, I think it was a good show. We covered a good amount of topics.
I think so too. Yeah. You want to talk about the contact info one more time, and we can probably shut this down?
You can always like, comment, and subscribe on the videos, and we can and then the GCAP podcast at gmail.com. Any questions, concerns, comments, business opportunities,
any sort of critiques you may have or compliments. Not that we're expecting those necessarily, but like if one of us is standing too close to the microphone, if we're breathing too hard, if it's hard to hear us, any little thing, because this is only episode 3. We want to make a lot of improvements to this show as time goes on. We'd like to put in like sound effects and intro music and all that sort of thing. We're getting to that. As Mike said earlier in the show, we do plan to put timestamps on this episode to make it a little more easier for you to navigate the topics you're interested in and avoid the ones you're not interested in. We do appreciate everyone that listens to the show. Just keep in mind that we're going to just keep growing and making it better for you. So
awesome. Yeah, that's
feedback is welcome.
All right, guys. That was episode 3. We hope you liked it, and we'll talk to you. See you next week. Goodbye, everyone.
Good. See you next time.